there's something that when the good people get to Washington and try to do the right thing, there is an architecture that drains them, that wastes their efforts, that places roadblocks, that causes them to back their objectives way off.
So you have it to where all these good people like RFK Jr., Dr. J. Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, or some people could argue Kash Patel. I'd say Dan Bongino more so than Kash Patel. They, going full of momentum and like wanting to do the right thing actually, and then once you get in there, something happens, right? And it's kind of like they turn tail or they can't like do as much as they said they were going to fulfill those promises. But so like I said, one of those forces is somebody by the name of Susie Wiles. So let's see if we can find a picture of Susie Wiles here. Those of you guys who aren't aware. Goddamn, dude, she just does. She looks like a fake fucking psychotic bitch. Some of these pictures, man. This is why I love the internet sometimes, you guys. But this is Susie Wiles, right? So she is a woman that has quite a bit of questionable connections and has represented a number of like, dishonest and shitty corporations, people, etc. And you guys can see like more results here, obviously, as well too. But I don't necessarily get the greatest vibes from her. She definitely does give me kind of like fake and psychotic almost. Like I said, it's just one of those things. She's got a very fake look in her eyes, and I don't really fuck with it. That's not a thing we should have in public office. But she's arguably preventing RFK Jr. from fulfilling all of his promises to the MAHA movement. Like, she is arguably the person doing it, or at least a significant portion of it. Let's see exactly why that is.
When you see, seeing these stories now emerging about Susie Wiles from people who were on the inside, and they're seeing it happen, the scuttling of the MAHA movement of RFK and what he's been trying to do, does it surprise you? And have you heard similar things?
Well, I've been kind of hands off, waiting patiently about Susie Wiles. But I'm gonna break that here today on your show since you invited me on. In my opinion, I think she's absolutely toxic to not just the Donald Trump administration, but also to the MAHA movement and the GOP as a whole. In fact, I would say on the current trajectory, although there's still time to turn this around, but on the current trajectory, Trump is going to be facing a Democrat sweep in the House a year from now, and the White House will be lost in 2028 unless they turn this around. And Susie Wiles, I believe, in my opinion, is the key gatekeeper, as you said. Her history is, in my view, horrific, with Mercury Public Affairs representing some of what I would consider to be the worst of the corporations in the world. Any corporation, we're talking about Pfizer, we're talking about the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, we're talking about companies that promoted pesticides and herbicides that harm human health on a widespread basis. Plus, she campaigned for Netanyahu in 2020. I mean, it's almost
alone. So she worked on his re-election campaign in 2020. I had a friend who worked on that same campaign and left and said how corrupt Netanyahu was. Everyone knew how corrupt he was. So she stayed on. Like, that's the thing. Like, there were people who knew how corrupt Netanyahu was and left, and she stayed on to promote him. And then, of course, is rewarded with a chief of staff position.
Basically, Susie Wiles supported big pharmaceutical companies, vaccine makers, you feel me? She's also even went through and supported somebody as shitty as Bibi Netanyahu, or Benjamin Netanyahu, as he's called, her stage name is, and saw that he was a corrupt human being and all the shitty things he was doing. Many other people, like good moral people, like Clayton said here on the left, he had people that he knew that were, in that, and then they saw how shitty Netanyahu was, and did the right thing and left. But Susie Wiles, what'd she do? She stuck around. Like, that's showing you a very messed up individual and human being. Like, she's like, oh, I see that you're doing shitty things. I'm still gonna, you know, support you and promote propaganda for you. And then she did all of that and got promoted to, you know, be a chief of staff, a elite position in the White House, or a very good position in the White House afterwards, despite that.
Oh my God! Wow!
I don't know. Considering the fact of the matter that she's done all of these things already, she does not seem very Maha-like in general. And it seems, like Mike said here, it's really dangerous to have her be in the White House if she's supported all these shitty, corrupt businesses and people before and even campaigned for somebody as corrupt as Netanyahu, who has just said, fuck the US, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad cause I'm brown.
And breaking peace deals and stuff like that, and going off and bombing one of the oldest churches we have in history, mind you, that was housing innocent civilians and like people in the Gaza Strip, just, you know, for various reasons. It's truly a genocide either way, whether it's for religious reasons or resource reasons, etc., which Gaza's rich in oil, just so you guys are aware, like very, very rich in oil, according to the Russian Times. They reported that, and we're actually, you know, you couldn't find that anywhere on the news when all this stuff started with everything in Gaza. Like I said, you guys, if she's done all this stuff and represented all these people before, it's really just undermining the whole Trump administration. This is a thing that we're seeing again inside his administration. So, like I said, it's funny because RFK says, oh, Susie Wiles is, you know, like a good person. Basically saying like these people are, you know, being misled and uneducated about her. Meanwhile, you know, it's the same time, it's like, dude, you really should not just assume that and look into it more. Like, you could argue RFK Jr. is trying to keep the peace, though.
I had to say that I want Trump to succeed. I want Maha to succeed. I believe that RFK Jr. has in his heart all the good faith efforts to try to radically reform our country and bring back health, but he is being stopped at every turn, and so is Trump. I think both RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz in their minds are silently screaming at having to be put through this, because I know Dr. Oz also. I was on his show many years ago in New York City, and he is a man of great compassion for human beings, and he knows about nutrition and natural health. And I believe that RFK Jr. also, he has documented, he knows very well the dangers of excessive, you know, pharmaceutical mass medication of children, mass vaccination without justification, lacking scientific support, evidence of efficacy and safety, and so on. So I think those two men are really in turmoil right now, in my view.
I thought like school lunches would have been like a huge thing, like a very easy thing, like a low-hanging fruit to come out. No movement at all. Silence.
Well, there's so much money in the processed food industry. And by the way, don't forget Susie Wiles represented, you know, Nestle and a lot of the processed food companies over the years that make products that are loaded with things like high fructose corn syrup that food scientists will tell you absolutely contribute to both type 2 diabetes as well as obesity. And Trump's answer to this has been very disappointingly, oh, let's make the injections, the weight loss injections, more affordable. Well, I mean, like here's what I'm drinking, right? Like here's my smoothie, because I advocate nutrition and I practice nutrition, and I know both of you do as well. And see, that's what works. We've got to get back to basics. And as long as Susie Wiles is the gatekeeper, the processed food companies and big pharma, they're always going to have Trump's attention, and we're never going to get good results from that. So Susie Wiles has to go.
So, like, as you guys can see, according to what Mike is saying and stuff like that, he's the person, you know, advocates for health and nutrition just as much as Redacted News does, like Clayton and Natalie. In the interview they had there with him and stuff like that, they talk about how when they're in Europe, the school lunches were a lot better. It's just something like as simple as fish with a little bit of salt and pepper on it, and they go, you know, happily eating their lunch and stuff like that. Whereas here in the US, it's just like condensed fucking processed garbage that we're letting our kids eat and stuff like that, right? It's not made from scratch or anything like that. It's highly processed, ultra processed foods that we're giving these kids inside the public school system, which that's, well, kind of what the public school system's meant to do. And like the fact of the matter, it really was an easy point. I would argue that if Susie Wiles wasn't doing that, then we probably would have had something like that started on at least by now. in terms of like making our school lunches healthier. That was actually one of the things that, you know, Michelle Obama campaigned on, and when she was, you know, in the White House with her husband and stuff, or with Barack. Just saying. Like, we definitely could have had that done by now if it wasn't for people like Susie Wiles, who defended Nestle Corporation and other big food companies and gets money from them, arguably, too. Like, she's a huge conflict of interest in the MAHA movement. Like, as a chief of staff position, she is not going to sit there and be nearly as productive or like efficient or just beneficial to the MAHA movement as it is, because she is like going to arguably defend those that she has in the past. You feel me? In terms of, you know, like big vaccine corporations that have had shady practices, or, you know, like big food companies like Nestle, which intentionally put high fructose corn syrup inside your food, which causes type 2 diabetes and like heart issues and just a lot of health issues overall. Like, not to mention the damage it does to your gut lining as well too, which affects your mental health as well too. But she's going to arguably defend those companies and keep them in power. Like, we have Ozempic being pushed, which is a weight loss supplement, and we're still having, all these ultra processed foods, which are what are causing all of these. What do you think people get on Snap and Link, you guys? It's half this garbage that they're fucking promoting, the big food companies, which are highly addictive and ultra processed, and, you know, sit here and fucking just completely mess with you and your like health overall. Like, you will become fat, addicted, and riddled with disease if you sit here and, you know, keep eating all these ultra processed foods made by companies such as, you know, Frito-Lay's or Nestle, Mars, Hershey, or you go in like McDonald's. Prime example, you guys. That shit will last 10 to 20 years sitting out. It's you shouldn't be putting it into your body. It's just saying. But like with Susie Wiles being here, you guys, it's literally just going to inhibit the MAHA movement at this point. As you know, as long as Susie Wiles remains where she is, I would argue. But that's enough about what I think. What do you guys think about all of this? Let us know your thoughts, opinions, and concerns in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. As usual, though, too, my dudes, if you guys did enjoy, please don't forget to, you know, hit that like button and destroy the shit out of the subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to me, and also helps us to get further up in the CensorTube algorithm to let people know that they are not crazy for questioning these shitty, corrupt systems to live in, and that it's completely normal and natural. Also, if you guys did make it to this point in the video, though, go and leave the phrase "Deep State, eat my cake" in the comment section down below to let me know that you made it to the end, that you guys are part of the 1,000,000% tribe. Also, if you guys would like a more interactive experience with us, come join us live every Wednesday and Friday from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time, where we tell you guys all about the conspiracy facts and also play a variety of games afterwards, such as Pokemon Unite, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, etc. Whatever really floats the mood. Either way, though, my dudes, I appreciate you guys very much for being here. Thank you, much love, and until next time, please don't forget to live long and prosper, take care in peace, keep it 1,000,000% real, and as always, fuck the system. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Z-Trib.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is America.